And in just a second, I'm going to be introducing author Viola Shipman, aka Wade Rouse. Look at advanced reader copy. I think they changed the cover. This book came out last week. I am so excited that I get to talk to him about it, and we're going to talk about the cover change and see which cover they decided to keep. And so we got lots to talk about. Super good book, and the story behind it. I can't wait to talk to him. Anyway, here is Wade. Hi everyone, I am so excited today because I get to speak to Wade Rouse, aka Viola Shipman, and we're going to be talking about his brand new book, and he's got it right there. The hardback just came out, the recipe box. I love the colors on that book. Oh my gosh.
It's a pretty cover.
Oh my goodness. And we talked before, I have the old wife, the advanced reader copy, but when I saw that cover, I was like, yes.
It grabs you, and I think it reminds you, as you probably know, the book's inspired by my grandmother's recipe box, and my fiction's inspired by my grandmother's heirlooms and their life and love, and so I think the cover really kind of captures that warmth that I try to write about.
Yeah, can I see the binding of the book? Because everybody on Instagram always shows the side copy, like look. Oh wow, look at that. Because everybody's obsessed right now with the fonts and the colors of the bindings, and they make pictures out of them. It's just crazy.
It is a bit, there is an incredible art to creating the perfect cover for the book, as you know, and it's interesting. It's not just the jacket, but it's the binding on the side. I mean, that's what people see oftentimes, what captures their eyes. Right. So they put a lot of thought and effort into it.
That's right. And I love when I read the story about how this was, all your books are inspired by your grandmother and Viola. And it brought back so many memories of my grandmothers. I had two grandmothers that both taught me how to crochet. And,
wow.
And I crochet for my grandchildren now, and I make them blankets all the time. And even though I keep having grandchildren and I crochet a lot, but I listen to books a lot too while I'm doing it. But it just brought back like that passing down, the things, because as a grandmother, and now that I'm a grandmother, it makes you think about the fun things. I mean, I don't know, like you must have such fond memories of your grandmother.
I do. You just summed up the whole reason why I write the types of novels that I do. I feel very blessed. I grew up with all of my grandparents very close to my grandmother's. My grandpa built an old log cabin. I grew up in the Missouri Ozarks that I spent every summer going to. My parents would drop me off on Memorial Day, and I would literally spend the entire summer with my grandparents. And, we didn't have anything there. We had fishing poles and inner tubes. We had an outhouse, and we had books and each other. And I really got to know my grandparents as real people and not just my grandmas and grandpas. And I think for me, you start to get older, you begin to lose those you love, and those memories become more important. And I think we're kind of at a crucial juncture in society where a lot of the things where you're talking about crocheting blankets, my grandmother's had charm bracelets and recipe boxes, all of these things that we take for granted, but my grandparents were working poor, and these little things meant the world to them. And they sacrificed so much for my family and for me to become the person I am. It's just me choosing my grandmother's name as a pen name is just kind of the smallest thank you I can give them. But you summed it up. These things that we pass along that have memories and spending time together. That's why I write the books I do.
Yeah, I have a favorite. Both my grandmothers were called Nana, okay? Because that was, I don't know, a thing at the time. But so my crocheting page on Facebook is called Loved by Nanas. because when you learn something from them, I felt so loved by them, and I was really the only granddaughter that took them up on their craft, and the fact that they both did it, maybe that is like an old time. I mean, my daughters have no interest in what I do, but it's different. Like I said, with your grandchildren, it's a little, because you get to experience something different. You're not raising them, you're not trying to parent them, you're trying to have fun with them. When you went to your grandma's, you were like having fun.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a totally different experience. And, my mom often got a little bit jealous because of, I think, the great relationship. But, all of those things they passed along, I still do. And I do believe that things come full circle. Your daughters may not crochet, but I guarantee you someone down the line will. It's just like me baking. For so many years, people weren't in the kitchen. And then Food Channel and HGTV took off, and people are back, and they're cooking, and they're taking time. And I just think everything comes full circle, and that's what these books, really are trying to remind readers just to slow down for a second, appreciate their family, where they came from, reconnect if you haven't asked, your elders about their histories and their memories. Just do it before it's too late.
Yeah, and there's something about baking, because nowadays, of course, we can go to any bakery or even the grocery store and get like chocolate chip cookies or an apple pie. But my children do, like, I have 6 children, so right now I have my younger ones are at home, and it's like they'll say, I want chocolate chip cookies. Okay, well, I'll go get you. And they're like, no, I want you to bake them. Like, so the kid, there is something about baking them, coming out of the oven, just baked. I mean, a pie, I love baking pies. I really do. I love making the crust. There is something about your own thing that you made, and it's like yours,
I would say it's a visceral experience. When I bake a pie, and I love that too, when you do that now, I remember how my grandma's kitchen smelled. I remember, it tastes the way it did when she made it. They're just, these memories are all connected. Food's really the great connector for us. I'm sure you have recipes you love to make that your grandma's made, or your sisters or aunts, and those are the things that connect us.
Yes. And I just want to give a little warning for everybody when you pick this book up. I was reading it in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I want an apple pie.
It's a baker's delight.
Yes, it is. So when you get this book, just have it ready. Just make some desserts and have them handy, because as you read this, you will get hungry. Okay, you will.
Yeah, every single chapter is centered around one of my family's beloved desserts. So they're all things that I love, and a huge variety. So I think people will be baking their rears off.
I can't wait to make this one.
Yeah, what's interesting is people have been asking about these recipes, and my grandmothers and family and friends have so many great recipes, but it was kind of difficult to pick things that made sense with the narrative of the book, as well as made sense with the characters, because it goes back and forth, in the generations and history of time. And also made sense with northern Michigan, where the book's set. So I kind of had to pick fruits and things that kind of made sense seasonally and with the narrative.
Yeah, well, you did a beautiful job. First of all, I know very little about northern Michigan, but it made me want to, I'm like, I need to go there. Wow, this sounds beautiful. I mean, the way you described it, and the story is so good. I thought you did an amazing job wrapping this very awesome story around these recipes, and every one of them is relevant, even as you go back and forth between time. I thought you did such a great job with that. I loved it. And I always pick out, this book, I'm telling you, I write down quotes, okay? I got tired of, it was like every other page. This book has more quotes that I love than I've ever read in my life, okay?
I appreciate that.
The book starts off, the story is about Sam. But I love that the first quote that you have is from your grandmother, and it just made me smile, because it says, "Put in the extra effort in life and baking. The end result is always worth it." And I was like, yeah, because even when I'm crocheting, okay, sometimes I make mistakes, right? And I see them, like I'll be like this far in, I'm like, but my one grandmother used to say, maybe nobody else sees it, but you know it's there. And I hear that in my head. Maybe no one will notice, but you will know that you didn't rip it apart and start, and so when I read that, I kind of teared up because I was like, what is it about their wisdom, that just made you go like, so even when you're baking anything, like if you take shortcuts or go buy the frozen pie pastry or whatever, put in the extra effort because it's going to be worth it.
And it does. It pays off in everything. And there is. I don't want to make it sound cliche, but there is a great wisdom that a lot, from the advice of, of your grandparents and your elders. I talk about how tough my life is today. But I'm blessed. You get to write books. You get to go on tour. It's a wonderful life. My grandmother was a seamstress in a factory. My grandfather was an ore miner. These were not easy lives. And I think, when she baked something, we take it for granted these days, but putting a meal on the table was kind of a big deal for them. And if they could make it special and put their twist on it, it meant a lot to them. But you're right, that wisdom kind of does stay in your head forever.
Yeah, because like I said, you have your parents' wisdom, like that's always there, and you're like, yeah. I don't have my parents anymore. I don't have my parents are both gone, but I'll hear them and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's always right, whatever. But when I hear my grandmother's in my head, it's like I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
You are so right. Yeah, because they said it with a smile on their face. She would say, no one knows but you. And, and you'd be like, oh, I don't like that. But that's what I loved about this book because Sam, the main character, she's going through stuff. She's at an age where I still did have my grandmother's and her grandmother just gently, it's like a gentle little reminders and stories. I love the stories that she shared with her. And it really was like so comforting to her and not telling her what to do. And that's what grandparents don't really tell you what to do. They kind of suggest and they give you a story about it. They don't give you this like direct,
Exactly. Yeah, they don't push you and lecture you into a certain direction. And it's Sam is based on a lot of dear friends' daughters that I have and know and have come to love. Who, so many young people, especially young women, are kind of told who they should be, what they should do at a really early age before they've even had a chance to figure it out themselves. So that's kind of, who she's based on, is somebody that's really struggling to do the right thing and also be her own person, but also trying to make people happy with the decisions she's making in life. And as we all know, oftentimes we fail when that happens.
Yes, and even though she wanted her to decide certain things in her life, and I don't give any spoilers, so I talk around it a little bit, but even though she had what she wanted her to do, she allowed her to figure it out for herself.
Exactly. And that's, and that tends to be, I think that's kind of the direction I went on in my life too. I worked in public relations for almost 20 years and was miserably unhappy and always wanted to write a book. And somebody said, why don't you just write a book? And I'm like, wow, that's pretty direct and good advice. And I just, I sat down and finished it, and I stopped worrying about, making money or if it would stink or if it would ever be published. And I think we're taught in society to be fearful and scared of too much. And once you kind of overcome that, then you're free. It frees you in a way. And that's another piece that I tried to layer in on her.
Yeah, I loved her. I mean, I always pick on Fridays. I post videos Monday through Thursday, and then on Friday I do a favorite. And so as I'm, reviewing this, I was like, you know what? She's going to be one of my favorite characters because I loved her. She grew so much during this book, and yet it wasn't forced, and it wasn't, it was just this natural progression of what she went through, and I connected so much, even though I didn't have her life at all, not even a little bit, but you still relate. It doesn't matter. You still relate to her. I related to her a lot, and I'm sure you've heard that too.
Yeah, it's, and to me that's the biggest compliment, is if a reader can relate to a character, see, even if it's nothing like them, see themselves or somebody they love or know reflected in those characters, to me, that's the greatest honor. That's what you want to achieve. And sometimes, you don't know. You're sitting there in the middle of a book, and I have a lot of author friends, great authors who storybook everything out in a novel. They kind of it's like a screenplay. They like to know how everything is going to happen one chapter. I do not. I kind of like an arc for a book where I know it's headed, but I kind of let the characters take control and trust them to take me in the right place.
Right, and we don't talk endings, but I love the way you ended it.
Thanks.
I love endings that put a smile on my face, and it's always the journey to there. And I'm just one of those. And there are so many. This is a book you can just escape into. There's the news, okay, and there's like hardships but when you can just go into a book and then you end up at the end just smiling, that's just the perfect book for me.
And that's what today with the types of novels I'm writing, they're really about family and love and kindness and sharing. And, I think today those are things we need more than ever. So, if you can escape into that even for a short period of time, I think it's really healthy today.
Absolutely. And so when I went back over your other books, I mean, this is just amazing to me. You've come out with 3 books. This is your 4th book, okay, since 2016. I mean, so you're, and every one of these is like bestsellers and everybody's loving them. And I was like, okay, so when you sat down and you decided to be a writer, you were like, okay, let's go. Like you just kept writing.
I did. I originally started out writing something totally different. I began writing humorous memoir. So I had 4 humorous memoirs published before I ever did fiction. And they were published by Penguin and Random House. And, they're much more like David Sedaris-y type books, peaks of my life and growing up, but very funny, very poignant. And, I had 4 books published. My first novel was published when I was 40. And, I took a huge leap, quit my job, just started writing after the first book was published. And then 3 more followed. And I got to a point where, I'm like, I've had 4 memoirs about me published. I really need time to live and grow a little bit more. So it was a big switch to, I always say for a man to write women's fiction using his grandmother's name as a pen name, it's very Victor Victoria. So it was a big leap of faith to do that. But, I feel very blessed. The first book, The Charm Bracelet, did very well and was very well received, and I think connected with a lot of readers and book clubs. And there was interest in me kind of continuing that theme of writing about family heirlooms and generations of family. And yeah, I would say I believe you have to have talent, but you also have to be you should be able to walk through walls and doors to get what you want to achieve. So I really work hard to keep the ball rolling and help the publisher and work hard on marketing and publicity. So yeah, it's a busy time, and I just signed a 3-book deal, so I've got novels coming out through 2021, so I'm excited.
Oh, that is really exciting, especially like I said, since the first one of these is 2016. I mean, that is so amazing. And when the recipe box came out last week, I'm going to be posting this video very soon because I want to push it, because everybody on Instagram was just like, read this. I have all these book reviewers that are friends of mine, and they're like, did you read this? They'll pass, read this book. And at least 5 of them told me to read this book. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So
that's great to hear. I'm glad.
Yeah. So it was like everybody was just loving it. And then finally I'm like, okay, I got the book. I'm reading it. I'm reading it right now.
Good. Yeah. Good. I have to say, it is amazing. You can do so much publicity-wise, working with a publisher, but it still, to me, comes down to word of mouth. Readers reading a book, actually enjoying it, recommending it to a friend or a family member, book clubs passing it along. That is still the name of the game, and for me, what I work at most.
Absolutely. And I do, like I told you, my daughter runs my social media because I just don't have time with reading and interviewing. But I do go on at night to, kind of talk with my different people out there, because it's really nice that it's a community and they're tight and they're really about promoting authors. When they get a good book, they will to the ends of the earth promote a good book. And that's why it's so exciting to tell you that you're like amongst them, because sometimes you're in your own world, you're just writing, you don't know what people are saying, and so it's fun to be able to say, guess what, this book is being talked about, okay, and everybody is loving it.
And you're exactly right. It is, I think, when you are surrounded by the right kind of affirming group of people, it's this, I call it my book tribe. It really is a book tribe. It's bloggers and readers, but it's also other authors. I reach out to all these authors that I greatly admire, like Jane Green and Adriana, and ask them to promote the book or put it out there, and they always do. They always have been insanely supportive, and I hope readers know that. I hope most authors, most novelists are incredibly kind human beings, and work hard to support others' work, which is pretty unbelievable.
It is. It's such a fun world to be a part of. I feel so blessed, because it is an industry where people understand that by supporting each other is the way to go. It really is. It's not about themselves. It's about, how can I help the next author? How can I help their debut novel? Everybody's willing to share what they've done.
Yeah.
And I see it. I see it all the time. And I love being a part of that. And I love promoting the books and talking about them. It's really exciting. So
and it's a rare thing in this world.
It really, really is. And I want to tell everybody, go on Wade's website. I love a good website, okay? And your website is amazing. Whoever designed it, they did a great job. It kind of just takes you into that world of Viola, and, it shares all your stories, and then it shows a great picture of your books. And so it's a great website. And
I appreciate that. Yeah, the Book Reporter, a great website firm in New York, does that. And we worked really hard on that. And even some of the illustrations in it are my aunt is an artist, and she lives in northern Michigan, in a little resort town close to the real one that I write about in the recipe box. And some of the illustrations used are hers. So it's really sweet to kind of incorporate family and northern Michigan into the website too.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know when your next book is going to be coming out? Like, do you have a teaser for us?
Yeah, the next novel is entitled The Summer Cottage, and it will be out next May. Awesome. And it's about a woman who gets divorced, quits her job, and thinks she has to sell her family's summer cottage that she's been going to since she was a little girl to kind of make ends meet. But she chucks it all and goes back to the little resort town she spent summers in and takes over this aging cottage and turns it into a bed and breakfast. And kind of just the challenges of being on her own, and then the guests that come in, and just it's about reinventing your life and taking a chance that's ultimately worth it. I love it. It's a much bigger cast of characters. It's a great novel. I just turned it in, so yeah, excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to read it. That's why I always ask, because I'm like, what's next? What can we look forward to? And I definitely want to read it early, so just putting it out there.
You'll get it.
Okay, awesome. Then we can talk. So show everybody that cover one more time, because I want them to see this. They're going to see a picture of it also on there, but I just wanted to look at that. Oh, look at how beautiful. I wanted to see it better, too, because I love that recipe box. How beautiful is that?
They did, and it looks, it's, and I didn't tell them this, it's oddly similar to my family's original recipe box. So it's really nice. I think they just captured the feeling exceedingly well. And I have a cover blurb from Richard Paul Evans, who wrote the Christmas box. So I'm blessed with all the support that's been behind the book.
Oh, that's awesome. I am so glad that I got to meet you. I'm so happy that I got to read this book. It was such a blessing in my life, and I know it is for, all the thousands of other people that are reading it. You did such a great job. I can't wait to read your next one.
Thank you. It's lovely to talk to you.
Yeah, I will have all of his links listed below, where you can find Wade, a.k.a. Viola. I'll have all the links that you can find him, and I can't wait. So let's just keep in touch, okay? Aw, thank you. Thank you, Wade. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye. For watching, everyone. Wasn't he awesome? Look, it's not the real cover. Okay, we saw the real cover, but I am so happy that I got to read this. You have no idea. And he was just amazing. This book made me just think about my grandmothers all the time, and really happy memories. So I really suggest you go read this, and I will have all of Wade's links listed underneath here. If you enjoyed our video, please hit like. If you'd like to get updates on all my videos, please subscribe. Thank you, everyone.